Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tony and this is my channel BlackMomAbroad. Now if you're new here, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now today is another outside late night video because it's hot, y'all. It's hot and it's really hard for me to record or get any content during the day because it's hot and I'm always sweating bullets. I'm sweating now. It's not like profusely, but I am sweating. So I decided to do yet another video outside on my balcony because it's hot. And yes, my hair is still in a bush because what am I do with it? What am I do with it? If anybody wants to volunteer to braid my hair, you want to practice, whatever you want to do, let me know. I'll pay you. You ain't got to volunteer. I'll pay you. But yeah, I don't be feeling, child. Ain't nobody doing nothing to this, okay? It is what it is. If you don't like it, you might want to just look away, because this is as good as it's going to get for a minute because it's hot. But thank you so much for tuning in. Today is a video that I have felt compelled to do, but I kind of just want to talk like we friends. That's how my videos are. Like, let's converse, let's talk. What I would like to talk about today is the lack of information or I would like to talk about the lack of information there is out there to help single Black moms cope with having children in another country and helping them cope. What do I mean by that? Before I came to Merida, Mexico, I did research on various different things, but one of the topics that I made sure to do research on was children and coping mechanisms and how they cope. My daughter is knocking on the door. Give me 1 second, y'all. Okay, I'm back. How do you cope as a parent with your child who may not be coping well, or who may not be, I always forget words, y'all. Like, it be in my mind, but I always forget. Adjusting. How do you cope with your children who may not be adjusting well? Let me just tell you that when I did research on coming to Merida, specifically on like how are children coping, not just my age children, but children throughout the, toddlers, preteens, teenagers, like how do they cope? And honestly, I found very little information that actually gave like a real view of how children are coping. Even when the children spoke, like even when there were some YouTubers who had their child actually speak, it was never anything, it was always positive. And that always kind of gave me like a reason to pause for the cause, because I'm like, so oh my goodness, y'all saw that. Sorry. See, that's one of the bad things about doing videos at night, like the bugs, okay? Because I got this light, so hopefully I don't get bit up. I can get this video done before they attack me, because something getting my back, I'm going to go berserk. Alrighty. But that always gave me a cause for pause, because I'm like, So everything is good. Everything is copacetic. There's nothing that you feel like you want, you're missing. And what I learned is that people just tend not to say what they perceive as negative. And we have to stop using this word negative. It's like, what is negative? Your experience is your experience, right? I'm not saying harp on things that may not have been a good experience. I'm not saying to let that stop you from doing anything, but it's just a learning experience. It's something that you can take with you and you can learn from and you can move on and you could do differently the next time. And so I really didn't have a lot of examples of how children actually coped being abroad, leaving the majority of their family and their friends and just what they know. There really wasn't much information out there. So let me just tell you about my experience. So you guys know by now I have two daughters, my pumpkin pies. And they are twins and they are 4 years old. And we came from Baltimore, Maryland, but more importantly, we came from support. You know, it's a true saying that it takes a village to raise a child, and I truly have a village at home. So not having a village and not having a support system is not the reason why I left. It had nothing to do with that, right? I've always had support. I've always had a village. Now, I haven't had much support when it comes to the male part, and I'm just going to be honest about that. I'm not bashing, just being honest. You know they're going to be in my comments talking about you single, and that's why you single, because you don't got no kids. And why you won't take your baby daddy to, like, sir. If you so concerned, you can always front it if you want. You know, I ain't gonna say no, right? But that's just my truth, right? I've always had a support system, but the support came from like my mom and my sisters and my cousin and my friends, but not so much that the fathers in their lives. They are in their lives, but they have not been that much of a like financial or emotional, physical like support system. Sorry, y'all. You know I gotta stay hydrated, honey. Because if you out here for 5 minutes, honey, you be done passed out with this weather. So that being said, my daughters love their father, and rightly so. They love their grandparents and their aunts and their friends and their cousins and their brothers and sisters. They love their family and they miss their family. And I knew that they were going to miss their family and really, really struggle with that. But I didn't know to what degree. I just did not know to what degree. Now, that being said, do I have any regrets? I don't have any regrets. I think the only thing I would have done better is to already have planned the visits before I left. For instance, now, even though I did not have the visits planned, people still visited me. But for what I'm talking about is, I wish I had already had planned, like in 3 months, your dad is going to come visit you for such and such time. In 4 months, then your nana is going to come. In 5 months, we're going to go home and we're going to see them on this day. And then spring break, your brothers is going to come. And then I wish I would have had a whole entire year, especially their first year, planned out and already paid, like already put that up, and save for that, for travel back and forth, so that they can see their loved ones that they have been missing. I didn't do that. And maybe there's somebody on here like, girl, you didn't do that. You didn't think about that. I did not. I didn't do that. Now, I did think about like, okay, this is when your dad's gonna come see you. Da, 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 da. But I just wish it had been more finite, like definitive. And I wish I would have actually put it in stone, bought the tickets, wrote it on a calendar. This is when this is when that, this is when that. And that way I could have spaced out their visits from different people in their lives, especially for the first year while they are trying to cope with this huge change that they are about to embark on, this huge journey. I have no doubt in my mind that my children will be very well cultured. They will speak 2 different languages. They will be healthier. They will be happier. They will be more emotionally aware. They will be more joyful. So I don't have any regrets in the regard of me moving abroad. I will say I wish I was better equipped to deal with the emotional aspect of them missing their family. Another thing I would say that I did not really think about, guys, I didn't. My girls, so I come from a family of cooks, right? I'm really the only one that really don't know how to cook that well. But my sister Toya is a chef. My sister Tawny needs to be a chef. She's an at-home chef, honey. Food is amazing. My sister Tennille is AKA Martha Stewart, okay? All right. My sister Tiffany, she can cook her butt off. My mom can cook. My father could cook when he was alive. I'm the youngest, so the cooking gene just, ain't nobody teach me how to cook, right? Come on now. Okay? Y'all getting on my nerves. And so everywhere we go, it don't matter if we go to my sister's house, my other sister's house, my mama's house, everybody knows how to cook. And so my daughters got used to good cuisine. Like my sister we lived with my sister for about, I think like 3 months before we actually got on the road to move abroad. And, my sister would be like, what y'all want? Some pancakes, and she would make pancakes from scratch, or chicken tenders, and she would make chicken tenders from scratch. She would just make, she would just cook salmon, and I'd be like, what in the world? And they got used to this amazing food that was also interconnected with family and togetherness and our culture, not only as a family, but as an African American community. Food is our culture. And I did not know that they would mourn that as much as they have. Especially my daughter Mila, who also has an texture aversion. She has a texture aversion. My daughters were born 3 months premature, so they were only like 1 to 2 pounds at their birth. And so my daughter Mila pays very much attention to the textures of things, and she don't eat everything. It has been very, very difficult for her to embrace this different culture, this different foods, because food was her comfort. And I took her not only out of her comfort of living, but also her comfort of eating. And nobody talked about that. Nobody said anything about that. I've never heard about that. Now, do I think I'm the only person who has children who mourn the way that they used to eat in their cuisine. No, because I see all the time on Facebook and WhatsApp. Oh, I wish I would have some shrimp and grits. Oh, I wish I would get this. Oh, does anybody have any black-eyed peas? Y'all know where I can get this. And so as a culture, we mourn the foods that we had readily available and that we ate and that really are comfort foods. I did not think twice to think that would be my children. I didn't. And I didn't even hear it. It never even came up in discussion in any videos that I saw. And so that's another thing that you literally have to keep in mind. Like, your children will mourn the food that they are used to getting. Give me 1 second. So I didn't realize that my daughters was going to mourn their food, their creatures of comfort like they have. Yes, pumpkin pie. Okay, go throw it in the trash, and then put your put your plate in the sink, please. But yeah, I had no idea that they would mourn that. So another thing that they mourn that I didn't realize is my car. My car, like, we have had so many memories in that car. That's the car. Ooh, I'm gonna try not to get emotional, but that's the car that they finally came home from the doctors, from the NICU in, when they were just 2-3 pounds, being discharged from the hospital after 60 days. That's the car that they grew up in. That's the car that we sung our ABCs, that we played I Spy with my little eye, that I took them to daycare and took them to the park and gave them snacks and sung to them. It never dawned on me that they would mourn my car. And they literally have said out of their mouth, "Mom, I miss your car. I miss your mom car. And I miss my car seats." I never thought of that. I never thought that they would miss those things. And that they would mourn those things, and they would be saddened because, because those things are not in their lives. And it makes sense now that I think about it, because of all the memories that we shared. Like, because I was always such a busy mom, working and just doing things that I needed to do for my children and to survive, I spent a lot of time in the car, and I knew I spent a lot of time in the car, and that's why the car became a safe haven for us. It became a place where we ate. It became a place where we sung. It became a place where we just took a ride just to take a ride. It became a place where we went to exciting places. It became a place where we picnicked, like where I put their bikes in the back car, and then we get out and we ride. And so it never dawned on me that they would miss my car and the memories that's come from that car. I never really thought about it. I had no idea. So I'm telling you this because these are some of the things that you're going to have to deal with as a mother when your child is no longer in the honeymoon phase, when they realize that this is not just a long vacation, because most of the time children are not really grasping what you mean, especially if they're my age, my children's age, 4 years old. um, they didn't grasp that we were never going back, or that, not never going back, because they are obviously going back. They did not grasp that this will be our home, right? That this will be our home. Another thing that I kind of figured this, but I never figured that they were gonna have this much of a problem with it. I I put a lot of work in my home in the United States. I fixed it up. I made it beautiful. I made it comfortable, right? Um, my daughters had their room. They were comfortable. They had a whole schedule, a whole routine, and they were absolutely comfortable, and they loved our home. When I moved to Merida, although my purpose and my intentions was to recreate what we had in my home, and not everything, like, but make no mistake about it, I didn't move to Merida to not be comfortable. I didn't move to Merida to live a lesser quality life than I lived when I was in the United States, because I could have very well stayed there. Um, but things take time. I didn't build my home to the comfortable, beautiful, amazing home that it was before I left. I didn't make that home in 2 days. I'm not going to make my home comfortable in Merida in 2 days. It's a process. But during that process, your children mourn their comforts. They mourn the fact, the bath. My daughters, a big part of their nightly routine was getting in the bathtub with their toys, playing together, loving it, all of us playing in the bathtub together, and then getting out of the bath and mom reads them a story, wipes them down, get in their pajamas. Like, that was a huge part of their routine that they no longer get. And so I just didn't realize that. I just didn't realize it. And I try so very hard not to be so hard on myself, because other people are hard enough on me. Y'all, you know who you are in the comments. That's always judging somebody for whatever, when you don't know the whole story, or you always making assumptions. So I try not to be hard on myself, because there are people out there that's hard enough on me. But I didn't know that it would be this tough for them. Another thing that they are completely mourning is our backyard. I had a fenced-in backyard, big, still have. I still own my home, and it's being rented out. But I have a large backyard that's fenced in, and I can see my daughters from the kitchen and from the living room. So I would let them go out there and play, and they would run around and play and just have a good time. And here, I'm not saying I couldn't get that, but there's a pool in the backyard here, and it's so hot, and there's no shade. Like, just being outside. They miss like being outside, not when it's dark, because it doesn't serve the same purpose for them. For me as well, I have what you call like seasonal depression, and I get depressed if I don't get sunlight. Like, I get depressed if I don't get sunlight. That's why I really got deep into depression, because, during my years as working as a nurse, because I worked at night and I slept throughout the entire day. And so when I finally woke up, I would get like maybe an hour or two of sunlight, and really that's just to get ready to go back into work. And then when I get off of work, which is like at 7:30, I'm going to sleep, so I'm not getting any sun. So I don't know if I've always had seasonal depression, or I developed it as a result of working night shift for so many years and not getting any sunlight. So I didn't realize how important sunlight was to my daughters. I should have, because sunlight is important to me, and we are, blood. But they don't get a lot of sunlight here because it's so hot. So we came to a place where, even though it's summer all year round, summer weather, warm enough for you to wear shorts pretty much all year round during the day, you have to stay inside during the day because it's so hot. Mexico is a place that comes alive during Merida, especially. Mexico too is a place, but Merida especially is a place that comes alive at night because it's so hot during the day. I honestly, y'all, I really didn't even think of that. I really did not think of that. I really didn't think like, oh, how is this going to affect my girls because we're going to be in the house during the heat during the day. I had no idea. I had no idea. But now that I'm seeing this, I'm like, something has to change. And I would not change anything about this particular experience, because one thing about it for sure is that it's teaching me what to do next. It's teaching me what I want. I'm getting closer and closer to what it is that I want, what it is that I need, what my girls want, and what they need to help them be comfortable and to thrive. One of my pet peeves is the many YouTubers that get on here and act as if their children thrive right away. Now, maybe their children are already used to being abroad, and this is not their first rodeo, but you're going to have some bumps along the way. And for people to say that you're not is a little like, really? You're definitely going to have some bumps along the way. Last thing that I didn't realize that they were going to mourn so much, given their age, is their friends. They went to a daycare that prepares them for school, and child, like, if I hear about Caden one more time, like, Caden was one of their best friends. He loved them, they love him, and they talk about him a lot. And they're saddened by the fact that they don't get to see him. They're saddened by the fact that they don't get to interact and talk to him. Along those same lines is they actually mourn structure of school. Because we came here in the middle of the school year and they are 4 about to turn 5, I decided to put them into school when they turn 5. But that amount of time, they like, well, what we doing? Like, we ain't got no homework. We ain't doing no ABCs. What we doing? And I try to do stuff with them during the day, but let me tell you something. I am not, I am not now, nor will I ever be, a homeschooling parent. I'm not a homeschooling. I'm not a unschooling. I'm not. I'm not any of that. I have a lot of patience, but my patience wear thin too. And the reason why I have a lot of patience is because I want to have time for myself throughout the day. Now I haven't had that, and I still have patience. I haven't had that, but I do look forward to the time when I will have that. But a lot of my patience and love and caring and kindness comes from just really the person that I am, but it also comes from me able to have the time away from my children so I can always extend to them love and kindness and joy. The reason why moms are so frustrated and so upset and angry and agitated and aggravated is because they do everything. They the cook, the cleaner, the teacher, the therapist, the this, the that, the and then people constantly are still judging them and making assumptions based off what they shoulda, coulda, didn't. And it's like, you don't know, you don't know. You don't know. So I really wanted to do this video to just make it known that children do have a hard time adjusting, and those are the some of the things that you should look out for. I'm still navigating on how to help them to adjust. Now, one of the things that I will say to do is definitely plan visits with their friends and family. Even if you have to take them back, like I'm going back to Maryland probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And during that visit, I'm going to make sure they see their friends in the daycare. They're going to go see their dad. They're going to go see everybody, all of their loved ones, right? So you have to plan visits with their loved ones. Excuse me. I'm still... Child, I still have a cough too. Excuse me. So yeah, you definitely have to plan visits with their loved ones. Another thing is, when I get back, I will do things that we used to do. I will do things that they are familiar with, like take them to the parks that they are familiar with, that we used to go to when we were home, so that they can kind of get a feeling. Also, I'm going to take them to get their favorite meal, things that they like to eat. Of course, it makes me cringe now that I've been out of the United States. I really don't want to feed them much of anything, especially Chick-fil-A. But that's one of their favorite places to eat. I mean, you know why? Because of all the chemicals and everything. But I'm going to take them to their favorite place to eat because I know that that's what they miss. That's what they want. Lord Jesus, I hope they don't get sick. Oh my God, from it. Another thing that I will do to kind of help them to, you know, thrive here is I put them in swimming lessons so that they have something to do, keeping them active. I wanted to do more. I wanted to put them in gymnastics. But I still have to look for a schedule that works for them as far as during the day. Because if it's a particular point of the day, they're not about to listen to nobody because that's their nap time. But also it has to work for me and my work schedule as well. So I'm still looking for somewhere to take them where it works for both of our schedule, but getting them involved in as many extracurricular activities as you possibly can, The only problem with that is that it becomes unbalanced, especially if you're a single mother. You start to do a lot of things for your children, and then you look up and like you don't have anything to do for yourself. So it really is a balancing act, and I am not no expert. I am still trying to balance, and it's tipping over to doing what it is that they like to do, more than myself. But I'm trying to find balance in that. Like I said, trying to do group activities so that they can interact with other people and start to try to learn the language. I thought about putting them in Spanish classes, but they'll go to a bilingual school where hopefully they will begin to learn more of the English language because they're four, and also of the Spanish language. And so hopefully that will really help them. And if they need any additional help, then I absolutely will provide that for them. So those are just some of the things that I plan on doing to kind of help them to continue to cope. I also am very honest with my children. I try to talk to them, and help them understand what it's really going to be like. I tell them that you're going to visit, you're going to stay for such and such time, and then you're going to come back to Mexico. And I try to give them the real, but not too much information, but enough information so they're not like blindsided. I don't ever want to blindside my children, and I don't ever want to lie to them, even for their sake. I think that they still have depending on what it is, they should know. As long as it's like age appropriate and they can understand. I'm not going to give a doozy message to them that they don't even understand and can't comprehend. But I find that talking to your children and letting them know, especially preteens and teenagers, is better than not. And then you're like, well, that don't work. That don't work. So I just wanted to jump on really quickly and just talk to you about some of the struggles and some of the struggles that my children have had with adjusting to their new life in Mexico. If I had to say whether they liked it or not, they're for, but I would say no. Right now, they don't. They don't, because their number one complaint is everybody here speaks Spanish and they can't make any friends. Like, that's what they say. She only speaks Spanish. I don't understand her. She only speaks Spanish. Oh, and that's another thing that they mourn. They mourn the English language. They mourn being able to go up to a friend, because that's who they are. They're very friendly. They're very, very friendly. They mourn the fact that they can't go up to someone and be like, hi, my name is Mila. Hi, my name is Malaya. Do you want to play? Do you want to be my friend? Do you want to do this? They can't do that because they don't speak the language. And so, and it's not a cut and dry situation. It's not going to get away from me. It's not going to happen overnight. But I have to sit here and look at this and deal with this and help them cope. And it hurts. It's very hurtful. It's very difficult, and you don't really hear about it. So I wanted to make this video so that people can know that, yes, children have a very hard time adjusting, just like adults do. There is some adult here that is losing their minds. Listen, if I'm lying, I'm flying, and I ain't flying nowhere, okay? There are some adults here that are losing their minds and just don't want to wave the white flag or adjust or pivot, because You afraid that somebody gonna say that you don't got the money, or who cares? You don't got the money. It happens. It happens. It has nothing to do with who you are and your character and your lack of planning. Don't let nobody tell you that the reason why you got to pivot, or the reason this is because you didn't plan well and you ain't got the money and no. No. My first month of being here, I spent approximately $17,000 on my home back at home that I never thought I would have to spend. 17 grand. Now somebody, and now that could have cut me at my kneecaps, honey. And some people would have said, oh, she didn't plan, or she didn't do this, or she didn't do that. Like, don't be here and be miserable. It is okay to pivot. It is okay to do other things. It is okay. Baby, you don't have a shirt on, honey, so you can't come in front of the camera. Okay, I'll be in a second. Mommy's almost done.
Oh, am I gonna get stung?
No. Yeah, don't be sitting in discomfort because you afraid what somebody gonna say. Who cares? What I learned about people is they talk about you when you do good, and they talk about you when you don't do good. And people who talk about you, they are just projecting. They are projecting their feelings, their insecurities, their emotions, their everything on you. It's what they feel. It's what they're incapable of. It's how they are insecure. It don't have nothing to do with you. So don't listen to people who say this, and this about your situation, okay? Like, I'll be damned if I listen to somebody who giving me advice and they never left the state that they've been born in. And I'm not saying that, oh, I'm not looking down on you, but you can't, what advice can you give me about living abroad if you haven't left the state that you currently live in? But those are the people who are speaking to you in a negative way and that are bashing you about a decision that you made one way or the other. No. But there are adults that are here and that are miserable. I'll never forget. I won't give you too much information because, not that you would know, but I just won't give you too much information. But anyway, I was speaking to this woman and I asked her, I said, how do you like it here? And she was like, well, I bought a house, so I don't have a choice. That was her exact words. I said, ooh. She didn't smile. She didn't laugh. She didn't sound warm and fuzzy. She was like, facial expression and all. She said, and I quote, I bought a house, so I don't have a choice. So there are whole adults here that are not happy and feel as if they cannot pivot and feel as if they are stuck here and feel as if they don't have any other way out. And that's not a good feeling to have, I'm sure. But if adults feel that way, surely children can feel stuck as well. They can feel like they don't want to be here. They want to pivot. And so I just want mothers, fathers, parents, period, to be mindful of how your children are coping. Not just the honeymoon phase or not just what they tell you when the camera is on, but really how are they coping? And you can tell by how they are. Like, are they aggravated all the time? Are they sad? Are they depressed? Are they withdrawn? Like, it is a certain way you can tell whether or not your child is truly adjusting to this new lifestyle. And if they are not, it is up to you to figure it out. And I got a wake-up call that my 4-year-olds, even though they are young, they are not adjusting well. And so I said, so they're supposed to go with their dad, like Father's Day weekend, and stay with him for 10 weeks. But we're going to leave probably 2 weeks early, around June 2nd, because they have told me that I need to go back for a while. I need this. I'm getting tired of being here. I need some normalcy. I need to feel and see and touch and hear what I am used to hearing. And as a mother, I have to pay attention to that, and I have to give them what they need. And when we come back, I think that they will understand now that there's going to be some time in between me seeing my dad, seeing my grandma, seeing my papa, seeing my nana, seeing my aunts, seeing my cousin, but I will see them. And when I see them, it will be for some time, and I will cherish those memories. So for my 4-year-olds, I can't just tell them that. They have to see that. And I decided that instead of waiting all the way up until June the 2nd, June the 12th, we're going to go earlier, because that's what they're telling me that they need, and that is exactly what I have to do as a mother. And so I really just wanted to put that out here, to really pay attention to your children and the signs, and making sure they are coping, and they are adjusting well. And if they are not, what do you do next? You do not have to sit in a place where your children aren't adjusting well, where you're not adjusting well, where you are just not happy. You can move, and you can figure out where your happiness is. You can go back to the United States. You can go back to the United States. I'm well aware that I can go back to the United States. And let me just tell you, I would not feel any type of way about going back to the United States. None. I won't feel like I failed. I won't feel like I gave up. I won't feel like any of that. Listen, moving abroad is something that majority of the people will never experience. Ever experience. And it's not like a, yeah girl, yeah, you ain't never gonna experience that, like it ain't nothing like to brag about. It's just really, really, really true. Like most people aren't ever going to experience moving abroad. So if you did it, even for a month, even for 2 months, even for 3 months, for 4 years, whatever the time frame is, you did it. And that's it. And who do you have to perform for? Nobody. So listen to yourself, listen to your children, and if you're not happy and you need a break, go on back. If you need to change locations within the country that you moved, change locations. If you need to change countries, change countries. Do whatever it is that you need to do for your sanity and for your happiness and your children's happiness. Otherwise, what was the point in the first place? What was the point in the first place? So yeah. Alrighty guys, I'm about to go. Please like and share this video with anyone who you feel like it may benefit, and comment below. Tell me whether or not you can relate to what I'm saying. Do you have a child who was not adjusting well? What are some of your recommendations to do? What would you have done differently? Are you still in the United States and you are worried and you have not moved abroad because one of your worries is that your child will not adjust? Do not get so caught up on when people say, oh, children are so, what's the word? Oh, y'all, I swear, I need some ginkgo biloba or something, honey, because I be forgetting words. Resilient. Oh, that children are so resilient. They'll get over it. They'll adjust. Sometimes people say that in a dismissive way. And children are resilient, but they are human beings. And if you're having a hard time adjusting, what makes you think that your child is not? And so comment below if this is something that you've struggled with and you have some pointers, because I would love to take them. I'm sure any other mother that's watching would also love for more pointers as to how to help our children adjust through this different way of living, different way of life. All right, y'all. Till next time. Subscribe right now. Don't forget. I'll wait. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right, guys. Gotta go. Bye.